This is going to be a quick collective advice reading. I'm going to use the Golden Tarot. So this is a spread that I offer on my site. It's a 7-card layout. There's one specific card for the advice. Again, this is going to be for the collective, so all signs. But at the end, I will get individual advice cards for each individual sign. Okay. Ooh, I just saw the Magician. Did we see that the other day? I can't remember. I feel like I've been seeing that energy a lot lately. Manifestation. 4 of Cups. Scorpio, I feel like that showed up for you in the last reading. 10 of Wands, lay down your 4 burdens. Death, which is transformation, Scorpio energy again. Okay, I'm being called to cut there. I'm gonna try and make this super quick. If you book this as a personal reading, it's usually a little longer, about 30 minutes or so. Okay, so Knight of Coins. This is my slow and steady wins the race. I know that this energy has actually, I think it showed up in the last reading, but again, if it hasn't, it's shown up like predominantly in some other client readings this week. So it's in the collective energy. Again, slow and steady wins the race. This is coming up in the past. So I do get this energy of like, really wanting things to change, okay, which is like horses chomping at the bit, right? Like right before a race, they're like ready to go, right? I feel like the collective is like ready for change, but Spirit is actually saying that, you know, it's like things are actually moving exactly as they're supposed to be moving, right? In the last reading, I was talking about how when you try to force or rush or control things, it leads to self-sabotage. Okay, so we have to trust that we're kind of in the right place at the right time. For those of you who are on Threads, I remember like writing this thing once saying like our soul, like based on my beliefs, right? Our souls chose to be here right now, right? So that's super important. Like, you know, for those of us who may be feeling like, you know, that it's a lot, because it is a lot. It is a lot to carry. There's like a heavy burden. There's a lot of responsibility, right? But keep in mind, again, that we wanted to be here and many souls want to be here. That's like, I think what I wrote, right? So it's kind of a privilege, right? But again, it's like with great sort of power comes great responsibility. There's that Magician showing up in the present energy. So again, highly manifestative. Okay, when the Magician is in, I'm now remembering, I'm like, no, this came up for a client. But regardless, I think it did actually also come up in the collective. I can't really remember. It's hard to remember all the readings. So the Magician tells you have all the tools, resources, etc., right, that you need to create, to alchemize, to again manifest, to materialize, to physicalize, to call into existence, call into being, as above so below, right? That's why the figure is often pointing up and down, right? As above so below. So I really like that energy coming through here. For some reason with this deck, I get such an emphasis on our fur friends. Okay, so like your pets, spending time out in nature, spending time with animals. You know, I do know someone who's going like on a safari soon, so it could even be like, you know, trips to interact with animals or serve animals in some way, or again, just like the animal friends in your life, even the ones outside, the squirrels, the birds, the bees, whatever, right? I was complaining about the caterpillars, but even they, like the caterpillars here in New Orleans are a lot right now, but even they serve a purpose too, okay? In the upcoming energy, we have the Ace of Cups. This is my you can't pour from an empty cup card. Okay, so lots of emphasis in the upcoming energy of prioritizing self. Okay, and this is another thing that I vaguely recall talking about a little bit on Threads recently as well. But it's something that I really sort of think about and write about quite heavily. Like this idea of self, not just preservation, but like prioritization, you know. And I often say like be selfish, right, which has a negative connotation, but we have to sort of reframe our thinking around that, right? My explanation to people, especially when this card shows up, is like, you know, the classic phrase of you can't pour from an empty cup. but it's like by prioritizing yourself, right, by making sure that you are taken care of, by making sure that your metaphorical cup is filled, everyone and everything that you interact with gets the best version of you. That's why it's A, so important, but B, not self-serving. Because especially, right, it's just like, especially for those people who are the givers, the caretakers, the nurturers, this is of utmost importance, is to like take care of self, take care of your heart, right? And again, Spirit is emphasizing that. It's interesting too, right? Because we're in Aries season. So for some reason, I'm getting like, not really necessarily a timeline per se, because we all move through energy differently, but it's like we're coming up on Taurus season, right? What follows Taurus? Gemini, right, which is the Magician, and what follows Gemini? Cancer, which is water. It's just an interesting, like, I'm just looking at, the layout here and noticing that pattern. Okay, so here's the advice card of this reading, and it makes sense, right, with this Ace of Cups coming in here in the upcoming energy that, prioritizing self, taking care of self. Here's the Queen of Pentacles, the nurturer, right? This queen is very blessed and abundant in her own right, but it's so that she can share it, so that she can build and take care of community, whatever that means. But again, the self-prioritization has to come first. I feel like Spirit is also saying, part of this, like, slow and steady wins the race to, okay, what is it that you want to call in, right? What do you desire? And to focus on, again, shoring up self, let's just say, that, it just all kind of feels like a precursor, and it is, even just the way I just described it, but energetically speaking, it feels like a precursor to this, of like, there's something about Spirit saying here that they want us to sort of recognize our inherent abundance, individually and collectively, okay? I'm seeing this article that I wrote like almost 6 years ago. It's on my Medium account. Yeah, I've shared it a few times on Threads, but it's also on my Medium account. It's called, like, there's a picture of it with like the word abundance on it. I just saw that because that whole piece is like about recognizing like what forms of abundance we want to call in, right? That you can, similarly to karma, how there's like good karma and bad karma, we can have an abundance of wonderful things, or we can have an abundance of not so great things, right? And it feels like Spirit is saying, if we feel like there's an abundance of not so great things, how do we sort of transmute, right, that energy right now? Okay. Four of Swords, rest. I had a feeling this was going to come up. This is coming up in the environment. I'm getting something like about the next month, okay? So it could even be, right, that slow and steady wins the race. Could even be that like Taurus season will feel rather slow. If so, it's by design, it's intentional, okay? The next card here is the Five of Wands, so a little bit of conflict, perhaps not quite knowing what to do, knowing what it is that you want, that's okay. Perhaps having competing or conflicting interests with other people, right? Like they want to go left, you want to go right. I just went the opposite ways in both of those cases. Anyway, at least to me, I guess it was right to you on the camera. But the Five of Wands is sort of this energy of rising above. Again, there's almost this elevation or ascension kind of energy that I was picking up with the Queen of Pentacles here coming up in the advice portion of the reading. I also am getting like a wait and see, right? Like if you're sort of conflicted about what to do, where to go, which again, a lot of people are right now, is that you are not alone in that if that's how you're feeling. Wait, right? Again, don't force or rush it. Unless for some reason, like you have to make a decision or whatever, that's a little bit of a different case. Maybe schedule a reading. But if not, right, often that sense of urgency that we have is manufactured, okay? From outside, like external environmental conditions, as well as within, internally, okay? Let's get the final card here, and then, yeah, don't worry. Every time I see Nine of Swords reverse, I hear "Don't worry, be happy," like that song, literally. Right, so Nine of Swords reverse, again, it's about not letting your fears, worries, your anxieties getting the best of you. Okay, if you struggle with that, amethyst is going to be your friend. It's very healing, very protective, especially if you have trouble sleeping or like with restlessness, insomnia, etc. Okay, I was going to use a new deck, but I don't feel like it. We're going to start with Aries. You have Emperor showing up here and the Ace of Wands. Aries, you're such a creative sign, okay? All Aries need to be employing their creativity. Even if you're not a creative, like by trade, like your job, some sort of creative outlet or hobby, okay? All right, so Aries, you have the Hanged Man. Again, very aligned with this Four of Swords of like, it's things are meant to sort of be a little bit slow, okay? A little bit. The Hangman is about gaining deeper insight, introspection. I often say the Hangman is like being on a road trip, and right, because the tarot is the journey of the fool, right? And so the Hangman is like being on that journey, but going off into the rest stop, right? So that you can refresh and regroup and double check you're going in the right direction, etc. So you're kind of in it's also a wait and see energy, right? But that again, it feels very aligned with that environmental Four of Swords collective energy. So again, if things don't really move very quickly during Taurus season for the next like month or so, that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be, okay? I also feel like some of y'all are like waiting for something, like some type of illumination, some type of decision or something along those lines, okay? Taurus, y'all have the Two of Swords. Make a choice or a decision based on your inner knowing. That's what the Two of Swords says. It can't be based on what do other people say or think. No, it's based on what is the right choice or decision for you, okay? That's the most important takeaway with the Two of Swords. Go with your intuition, go with your intuitive knowing, your intuitive inclination. Geminis, you have the stars here, Aquarius energy, healing energy. I don't know why I'm getting like a person, like, maybe like someone of significance around you, but they may be an Aquarius, or that could be a prominent placement of theirs. I'm not necessarily, the relationship really could be anything. Someone you work with, a friend, a family member, a partner, ex-partner. I don't know. There's something about like some sort of news, like finding out some type of information directly from them, or like, you know, through the grapevine or through divine intervention. Okay, that's what I'm getting here with this card. I also just heard the word closure. Apply that however it may resonate. Cancers, Five of Swords reverse. Cancers, you're being advised, okay, similarly to this Five of Wands, with that Queen of Pentacles energy that I was talking about, like sort of rising above, okay, not getting bogged down in the fray of like what to do, or, you know, conflicting opinions, etc. I feel that's what you're being advised to do. I feel like you're having a hard time. Okay, it feels like maybe you're having difficulty stop like letting go of a situation, not overthinking it, okay? Feels temporary. I don't know. Again, this will resonate differently for different people. It could be even something that you're like sort of actively worried about. If so, remember, Spirit said don't worry, okay? This Four of Swords, let me just talk about the Nine of Swords and the Four of Swords together real quick for you Cancers, right? Four of Swords is about like not just literal rest perhaps, but like resting your mind, allowing your mind to be in a restful state, right? And again, Nine of Swords reverse is the don't worry, be happy card, okay? All right. Yeah. Leos, you have the Eight of Swords reversed. Okay, so that's actually a good thing. So not that the Five of Swords reverse was a bad thing, but Eight of Swords reverse says, Leos, you are getting unstuck. Namely, you're getting out of your own head. I love that, okay? I often have this little thing I do with myself when I feel like I'm in my head. okay, is I literally will tell myself, get out of your head into your heart, get out of your head into your heart, and like see and call that energy down. And within a few minutes, I feel differently. Like I feel differently with my body. Try it out, report back, let me know how you feel. Okay, Leos, Virgos, you have the Eight of Wands. Pay attention to your intuition. All the Virgos I've been reading for lately, I'm like, you must journal. It's your mercurial nature, but especially with this type of energy coming in, this is talking about, you know, lots of incoming messages, perhaps a lot of activity happening around you as well. Could even be forms of like travel, movement, new opportunities, meeting new people. And I mean like new opportunities like work opportunities, creative ideas and projects, that kind of thing. Libra, Eight of Cups. There's something you're being called to detach, walk away from, let go, okay? Either literally or more so metaphorically or figuratively speaking. It may have come up around the new moon. It may or may not involve a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. Scorpio, you have the King of Coins, Capricorn energy. Okay, and I get a lot of overlap between Scorpios and Capricorns. I'm getting something here, Scorpios, about your work, like your work and your money. That's changing, that's growing. Okay, I feel like the other day in the collective, I kept saying, like, I was like Scorpio rising, like you were the only, which by the way, you can watch these last part for your sun, moon, rising, Venus. But I feel like I specifically called out Scorpio rising, and I'm getting that again, okay? Doesn't mean it's exclusive to that, but I'm just getting that that's important. Oh, Scorpios, because literally when I put the cards down, they were like this. So there's also something here about a counterpart, okay? Either someone you're already connected with, possibly an earth sign, okay? So a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo, doesn't have to be. But yeah, and for some reason I'm like, we got this the other day. I don't remember that reading, but it just feels like I'm having a little bit of deja vu right now. Scorpio. Sagittarius, Knight of Wands, which is you, okay? Sag, this is that chomping at the bit energy that I was talking about much earlier on in the reading, okay? So again, keep in mind that the advice is, right, some part of the advice was slow and steady wins the race. Because Knight of Wands says, like, yes, you're on fire. Yes, you're rip-roaring and ready to go. But you may be moving too quickly or too hastily, right? And again, if there's this sense of kind of urgency, dare I say panic, right? It can sometimes lead us to have a misstep. Okay, so you want to slow down. There's also something with this card about like stick-to-itiveness, right? Sometimes Knight of Wands has a little bit of like a flash in the pan kind of an energy because it's very well-meaning, very well-intentioned. Well, usually, okay? Sometimes it could be like a little bit of a player card, but I'm not getting that in that sense. Anyway, I'm getting like lots of ideas, right? Kind of like I saw a little bit of Virgo energy here if you have any Virgo placements, like lots of incoming messages, perhaps even spiritually, lots of ideas, etc. But maybe struggling with like follow through or like implementation. So again, the advice is to slow down. I'm not trying to belabor the point, so let me move on. Capricorns, you have the 10 of Wands. Okay, I'm like, and why was I talking about Capricorn earlier? Oh, in relation to Scorpio. So you have a lot on your plate. You have to get some stuff off your plate. Could be work responsibilities, could be, you know, personal and professional. This is the card of prioritization and delegation, right? Because pretty soon, like, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. So it's not sustainable. Okay, so Capricorns, I would even say that, you know, like, when spirit is giving us, okay, opportunities for rest, right? Like how I was saying, if things feel a little bit quiet, okay, and like how I got for Aries, like that hangman energy, things feel a little bit quiet, it can be by design. And I'm kind of getting that for you Capricorns with this 10 of Wands energy, that like spirit may be intentionally slowing you down because you're just taking on too much, okay? Aquarius, you have the Tower, Scorpio. Funny, okay. Sudden or unexpected change here really, again, could be anything. Aquarius. I might clarify this one just because I kind of want to get an idea of like, well, what is it that you should, not that, because you know, oftentimes with the Tower card, it's us making the change that is sudden or unexpected. It's not necessarily something happening to us per se. It's like something that we are, a decision that we're making, an action that we're taking that may be sudden or unexpected, perhaps to ourselves, but also to other people as well. That's more so what I'm getting here. But like I said, I might clarify that. Pisces, you have Justice, Libra. And Libras, yeah, okay. Libra had that 8 of Cups, right? Remember I said you might have, it might pertain to a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. And now Libra, here you are showing up for Pisces Justice. So there's a need for balance, okay? I feel like Spirit is also talking about karmic justice, okay? So, excuse me, you get in what you put out, right? That's you, and that's anyone who interacts with you. All right, let's clarify this Tower for Aquarius. I just got like, I don't know, it feels like could be something that you do or embark upon. Like almost feels like you're about to do something kind of brave or that like takes courage in some sort of way. Could potentially have a big payoff. Like literally. Let me see. I'm sorry that I'm only doing this for Aquarius. Yeah. Okay. So it could be, you know, again, something that you are working to build is what I just heard. And it could involve other people. Okay. But it feels like it's sort of, which is very fitting for you, Aquas. It feels like it's sort of out of the norm, right? And as you know, you're the aliens of the zodiac. So you're a little bit weird. You're a little bit out there. That's what I love. It just feels like, you know, really kind of, for lack of a better phrase, marching to the beat of your own drum. And like I said, it really feels like it pays off. Maybe for some of you, it's like you have found your people, like your alien tribe. Anyway, I'm going to close it out there. Hopefully this helps. And I'm going to try to do a new moon reading on Friday. Bye.